Very good morning. I am Ramalatha Marimuthu, working as a professor in Kumaraguru College of Technology in India and heading the Department of Information Technology in the Kumaraguru College of Technology. I have 26 years of teaching experience and I have written 6 technical books and published around 20 papers, research papers. My research is processor design using Vedic mathematics, and I also research in cognitive science and social related technology projects like special screening system for early detection of autism in children, for the special children particularly, and for a writing monitor for dyslexia, and for retarded children I have developed a walking corrective mat, and these are working models, and I will talk about these projects later when the questions start coming in. And currently I am chairing the Women in Engineering Committee for the years 2011 and 2012. My relationship with women in engineering started way back in 2003 when I started the Women in Engineering student branch affinity group the first time in Tamil Nadu, and then I started it in the section, Madras section of Tamil Nadu, and the first Asia Pacific Women in Engineering Congress was proposed by me and organized in 2008, and that was the start of a flourishing women in engineering in Asia Pacific region. I was the Region 10 coordinator for 2009, 10 and 11, 2008, 9 and 10, and for the 3 years I introduced various projects in Region 10 Women in Engineering, and the member satisfaction and the membership growth was phenomenal in Region 10. And then I was selected for chairing the Women in Engineering Committee. I would like to thank the Women in Engineering Facebook and the other organizers for giving me an opportunity to talk to you today, and I'm ready to answer any question regarding my relationship with women in engineering or my research or anything. I'm ready to chat with you and have a nice hour with you where we can have networking continuously. This will be the start of a relationship for years together. Thank you. I have received the first question. How and why did you first become interested in engineering? The answer is like, it's funny. When I was young, when I was a child, my father used to make me do things and understand. Anything I used to work with, I should dismantle, I should work on it and then do it. This encouragement came from my father. For example, I used to repair my own bicycle on which I used to go to school. I used to ride in the bicycle every day for half an hour to the school, and thus that I used to repair myself. Whenever I get a chance, I dismantle it, clean it and put it together. So this was the first encouragement that came from my father, and this actually gave me an idea that I am ready to do something and learn, and this was like an opening for me. And when I was graduating towards my +2, that is the school here, my sister got married, and that was to an engineer, and he also encouraged me becoming an engineer, and he was a role model for me. Actually, I was fascinated by the things he was able to explain to me, and I thought that okay, I should also be like him, like explaining how everything works and making it possible for the others also to understand. So that is the actual start of my teaching career, I should say, along with the technology. And naturally my father was totally against my going into engineering. He wanted me to become a doctor, And when he saw my interest in engineering, then he agreed. So I became, I went ahead and did my engineering. And of course, when I entered the engineering, it was like I'm from a rural community, and for rural community, I was allowed to go to a place, a cosmopolitan city, and this city is actually some 500 kilometers from our place. Though our close-knit family and the compound family and the peers in our community, they were against my going out of the place to do the engineering. My parents actually supported me and stood by me. It is from Sarah. I'm from Palestine Electrical Engineering, and I want to know about the IEEE organization and its activities. IEEE is a worldwide organization. As I was telling, it has got 4 lakhs of members all over the world, and it has got 42 societies for every technical stream that you can think of. If you are a student, then you might be in electrical engineering or electronics engineering, computer engineering, but any of the streams you are in, you will find an appropriate society under IEEE. And the IEEE is the most appropriate technical voice for the engineers like ourselves for doing research. And if you want to know the state of the art, then you need to go to the IEEE conferences, and IEEE develops more than 600 standards, and there are some 900 conferences that is going on everywhere. I have got another question from Pala. Do you find that joint work between men and women is enriching? Is this mix important? Definitely. The Women in Engineering was started in 1994 with the sole view of balancing the entry of women as per the men into engineering. Till 1980s, engineering was a male dominated field, and the representation of women in engineering was very less. And to make it possible for the women also enter engineering, the IEEE Women in Engineering was started, but it doesn't mean that only women can be members. In fact, IEEE Women in Engineering has nearly 40% of members as men, and these men work together with women to build a vibrant community of engineers so as to make it possible for the society to flourish. And any society which does not have any balance between men and women, it cannot flourish. So that's what we understand in Women in Engineering, and we actually work towards making the men also work together along with the women to make it possible for the community to derive the benefits from both of us working together. And in many of the places, actually, men come forward to start the Women in Engineering affinity groups, I should say. I have got another question. There is nobody given, the name is not given. Are there any many other female engineers in India? Do you think the struggle of female engineers in India is more or less than other countries around the world? Okay. I would like to answer these in 2 different steps. The first question is, are there many other female engineers in India? Yes. In India, in fact, in the engineering colleges, you will find an equal mix of men and women entering engineering. There are 50% women entering the engineering for the education. But the problem is that after graduating, the women enter into the career part of it, and they go for maybe some 10 years, but the sustainability vanishes after 10 years, and the women who reach the top is really very less. So I will say that I find many other female engineers, yes, but more in academics than in industry. In industry, the sustainability and the retaining of women to the top positions is very less. The second part of the question is, do you think the struggle of female engineers in India is more or less than other countries around the world? There are two important points that I want to make here. One is, women are culturally homemakers, and it is built in our system itself. Even if I am an engineer, even if I am working in a college, I still have half of my part dedicated towards my family and the upbringing of the children and the running of the family. Everything I take care. The children's education also makes an important part of our work, and it is in our upbringing itself to not to struggle for equality for career, and that makes it difficult for us to come up. And this is the case everywhere. Women are women all over the world. So if we come out of this makeup a little, and if we think that the career is also an important part of us, because if we want to grow in one line, then the other part of us, the career part also should grow. If we come up together like this, definitely we can come up. And the cultural differences are different in different countries naturally. In Japan, I find that the women are willing to work, but the society is not very encouraging. And in US, the women themselves, they don't want to come forward to become engineers. The amount of women coming forward to become engineers is very less. And in Europe, I find that there is a balance of equal men and women entering engineering, but at the same time, they don't want to be discriminated as women. They just want to be engineers. So this sort of cultural differences also make an important part of our family life balance struggle. Okay, I've got another question from Jonah. The work in engineering requires much time and effort. Does this make it difficult for a mother? Okay, half of this I answered in my last question actually. Of course, in any career, if you start working, you have to dedicate yourself if you want to really be recognized. Unless otherwise, you dedicate your full self in whatever work you are doing, the recognition does not come to you. And in engineering also, it is the same. So it does not make it any difference that it requires much time and effort. I wouldn't say that. But at the same time, we are mothers, and being a mother, naturally we want to take care of the family also, and it is difficult to balance. But what I feel is, we mothers, we should think of that as not being difficult to balance, but as an essential part of us growing. So when we do something for the family, and when we have lots and lots of free time, just imagine being at home for 1 year and having a lot of free time. What will you do? Most of the time we will be in front of the TV and wasting our time, and we will not grow anywhere. But if you do some other career, particularly engineering career, research, it's very, very rewarding. And we know how to channelize the time between the research, the work, and in addition to some other work like what I am doing in IEEE. I am also volunteering in IEEE. So when I volunteer for these things, I always balance my work as a mother, as a teacher, and also as an IEEE volunteer. So that is there for everybody. I don't think you should think of it as being difficult. The next question is from Amanda. What kind of activities can we do here in Brazil to improve our Women in Engineering program? Okay. In India, actually we did a need-based project. When I was, as I told you, my relationship with Women in Engineering goes way back from 2006. 2003 in fact, and in 2006 actually I started the the Madras section Women in Engineering. And what I found was, there is need everywhere in the society. And as engineers, we are supposed to find engineering solutions for any of the needs. And if we are not able to find it, nobody can find it. That's what my belief is. So what we did was, I introduced a project called Sangamam. And this Sangamam project actually makes the needs to be met by the technology transfer. It is also called technology transfer to rural areas. So we have so much of rural areas in India, and of course the technology necessity in these rural areas is much high. Like even the basic education and basic electricity is not available in many of the places. And we dedicate our time to provide whatever is possible with our work and effort. And these are the need-based work that you can do. Particularly, for example, I can tell you, in India, we have a tribal village where there was no electricity. And we found out that it is only for 15 houses, and why can't we do this electrification of the village? And the students nearby to that area, they came forward to work for it, and they learned wiring themselves, and they did the wiring of the houses completely by themselves. And we got the electricity for them, and now the village is enjoying electricity. So this is what we should do. Like, we have to identify the needs in Brazil. Actually, I haven't been to Brazil, so I don't know what the need is going to be. But I would like you to go to the field and identify, have a survey, have a questionnaire, and ask the people what they need, whether they need electricity, basic education, or in some places computer literacy may be introduced. All these things we can do. And from women in engineering, if it goes naturally, that also is a recognition for the volunteers too. Okay, I have got another question from John. What class outside of engineering and math that you were taught in school do you think has helped you the most in your career? Okay, the first answer I would say in such a situation is that moral science class. Our moral science class in the school was hilarious. Our teacher, moral science teacher, was the best in the world, I would say. And he used to take his responsibilities very seriously, and he used to tell us stories on how to develop the ethical behavior, how to make it possible to make the society also understand your work, and how we can be socially responsible towards the society. And all these were taught in school. And right now, whatever I teach my students, I teach them first that character is the best thing that you can develop. Education comes automatically if you have character. And I work towards developing the character of the children also. That is my most important work. Then next comes naturally their development, overall development. And for the all-round development of the students, it is essential that the guidance is continuous. We need to identify their interest, because right now I feel that the students, they don't even have their own interest mapped out, and that is the need of the hour. They feel bored because they don't know what they want in their life and how to go about it. And if a teacher can guide that, and with the help of the moral standards too, then that would be the best. We will develop the wonderful, peaceful world. And the next question I have got is from Celia. Do you think there are any social disadvantages that keep women from pursuing or excelling in engineering? Okay. Social disadvantages are the cultural disadvantages are there everywhere. You cannot be without any the cultural disadvantage in any of the country you are in. and it differs from country to country. In India, for example, it is different in North India, South India, East India, West India. But wherever we are bound by the societal rules. And these societal rules, we should also go along. We should not fight. That is my first advice. Go along with the societal rules and develop yourself with the societal rules. It is possible to have yourself recognized by the society too, if you make them understand that you are not trying to break their rules, you are only trying to help them. So these social disadvantages, I don't think that keeps women from pursuing or excelling in engineering. Maybe for some time, particularly the poor parents may not be able to afford a study of engineering for some women children, and some of the parents actually think it is not necessary for women to have a career at all, and those women can develop themselves maybe after they come up in life, maybe after 20 years or something. It is still possible to pursue engineering if you are really passionate about it. So everywhere only the passion counts, and if the passion is really high enough, you may be able to convince the parents also that it is very much to your advantage and also the advantage of the family that you can pursue a career. And definitely excelling in engineering takes only dedication and hard work. And of course we women always think that having a family and having a social life, that is also important, that impediments your growth in your career. But I wouldn't say that. That actually helps you grow. When you realize the responsibility of raising the children, of running the family, and if you excel in that, that motivates you to do it in the workplace also, and the career also can work towards the family. See, both are interrelated. There is no point in thinking that as a compartmentalized work. They are together. We work for the family, and the family, if it flourishes, then your career also is going to flourish. So it is interlinked. I never think that the social disadvantages will stop me from coming up. I am an example. I come from a very rural community. I was the first girl to become an engineer in my community against all odds. As I told you, though my parents supported me, I was ostracized by the whole of the community, but still I came up. Some of the things you may have to just leave it as it is and then pursue your passion. That is what you should do. I've got another question from Das. How can I master C programming? Have you had to master programming? Okay. Yes, I had to. When I studied in 1980s, when the programming languages were Fortran and Basic, and naturally the COBOL next came, and C also came next. And when I think none of the languages are different as long as you know how to break down a problem, analyze it, and bring out the actual steps of the algorithm. The syntax is different for different languages, but you can learn the syntax by doing 2 or 3 programs. But your skill actually lies in breaking down the problem, identifying the way to solve it, and solving it. And maybe some cosmetic applications will be necessary, like reducing the time of your programming, all those things. But everything comes with practice. The first thing, if you want to master in programming, I wouldn't say it is C programming, any programming. The first thing you should think of it is pictorial representation of the problem, if possible. Have it broken down into steps and make a flow chart. The flow chart is the best way to master any programming language. I have found that whether it is C programming or microprocessor programming, any programming, my first thing is that I write down the algorithm, try to visualize what the flow is going to be, or I do the flow chart, whatever it is. And finally, the programming language can apply for each of these as and when you need, like C programming or microprocessor programming, it is machine independent. Just think about breaking down the problem and understanding the analysis of the problem. That is better. I've got another question. What engineers were your role models? Which engineer have you always respected? Oh, great. There are so many role models in my career because I have, I should say I have mastered so many facets of my life. My mother is an engineer, not in degree, but in household work. She knows how to manage the time, how to manage the money, and how to manage us, the children. So in that, I would say she is the first engineer I admired. She is a role model for me. She never wastes a single minute of her time. She will be thinking of what will be the next work, what will be the next work. Even if she doesn't like go to work or have a career of her own, she is capable of running the family, and yes, of course, she is also capable of earning money. She used to do so many entrepreneurship works like tailoring, then managing a poultry farm. Like that she was able to do. She did not even pass 5th standard. So when she is able to do so much, why can't we engineers who have been educated so much with so much of cost to society, I feel that we can definitely come up. So she is my first role model. And apart from that, in every wake of my life, whenever I do something different, I think of Vivekananda, Swami Vivekananda, who always says, if you have a passion, go towards it, think it, eat it, sleep it, live it, and definitely you will be able to achieve it. So he was my role model. And both of these people were not engineers in degree or career. And my engineering role models, if you want to see, I would say Dr. Abdul Kalam. Dr. Abdul Kalam, he always dreamed. He always dreams of what will be the next generation. And I feel that for me, he is just like Einstein. What Einstein was thinking, what Einstein was able to achieve was something out of the age he was living in. He was living in the age of technology, but he was able to master the technology and bring in the next age technology. And that is how I see Dr. Abdul Kalam. He is a great inspiration for me, and not because he is a rocket scientist or something, just because he is able to visualize the future and he is able to work towards that. I have got another question. What is the best advice you have ever received in your profession? Oh, that's a fantastic question. The best advice I received is, you also should learn to say no. Because we women have a tendency towards thinking that we are a little inferior to the men with whom we are working. And that was the case with me too. And as I told, I come from a very rural community, and so my confidence level was not the best, I should say. When I started my career, and I was well into my career when I received this advice, of course, and when I started my career, I used to do everything that I can, try to extend my working hours and do whatever that comes my way. I wouldn't say it is wrong, because that actually shaped my career, and whatever I learned has been of enormous value to me. It has really helped me through during the career development, and also my satisfaction towards the career. So I wouldn't say that is wrong, but at the same time I used to what to say, I used to receive all the work that is possible, and my health was waning. And at one point of time, one of my superiors, he told me, you should also learn to say no. You are accepting the work from everybody because you think that the peers will think that they will not, you cannot match the work that is done by the men in your department. It is not so. You will be respected for what you are doing, and not for comparing with the others, what others are doing. So I feel that advice should be followed by every woman. This sort of inferiority complex we always have, that is always there, because we are dubbed as weaker sex, and we also think that we are weaker sex, but it is not so. Mentally we are the strongest sex, and I feel that we should also try to respect ourselves. We should also know our worth, and so that is the best advice I received. I have elaborated on it, and I have also learned from it. I don't say no to everybody. I don't say yes to everybody. Now I know where to say no, where to say yes. I've got another interesting question from Anna. How often do you visit other universities to talk to students about your experience in engineering? How can you visit us? I'm not sure about where you are. So for the second part of the question, I will answer later. The first part, how often do you visit other universities to talk to students? Okay. I usually give talks to the students in different universities at least 4 times in the year in abroad. That is, I gave a talk in University of Central Florida in February, then in Orlando in May, then in July I gave it in Spain, and I have another assignment coming up in December. So at least 4 or 5 times when I go abroad, I also visit the universities there. I love seeing the students, and I like visiting the laboratories. So I go visit there and talk with the students at least 4 or 5 times. But apart from this, in India, I visit at least 2 or 3 times in different universities in India every month. So which makes it around 20 to 25 talks I give every year within India. Outside India, it is 4 to 5. How can you visit us? Anna, I would like to know where you are. I am not sure whether you are in India or whether you are in another country. So if you are in another country, then I will have to plan it in such a way that if I am visiting there, I will definitely come to your university and reach out to you and meet your students. But if you are in India, of course you can mail me or you can reach me through the Facebook and call me. I can visit you. We can plan it in such a way that it doesn't hinder my work here, and at the same time it will also be useful to your students. I am ready to reach out to you anytime. You can mail me at Ramalatha.Marimuthu at Ramalatha_Marimuthu at IEEE.org. It is my name fully, Ramalatha_Marimuthu at IEEE.org. You can mail me. I will definitely reply you. I've got another question. Have you ever seen any direct examples of women who were discriminated at their job? I am a walking example. In my earlier stages, I should say, not now, of course. In those days, even in teaching, the discrimination was there. But I feel that the discrimination actually depends on the individuals. So if an individual peer or an executive, he is more discriminated towards the men working, then it is necessary for us to fight back. And I did. When I was working in a rural college, I was working as the professor in a department, and I was tenured to become the head of the department automatically. So I was done. I was made the head of the department, and naturally some other professor who was a man, but at the same time he did not have less experience, but he was in the college, in that particular college he had more experience than me. So he wanted, he approached the authorities, and we had I was discriminated as women, and I was made to step out of this professorship, and he was made the head of the department. Naturally I fought back. I said I'm resigning, and after 6 months actually they found that his abilities as the leader was not that good, so they begged me to again take up. So it is there everywhere. It depends on the individuals and if you can fight back, yes, do it. I've got another question from Rudra. Is the technical acumen of engineering students on the decline with software to help them on every step? Wonderful question. Yes, I feel that this is the need of the hour. Actually, the students are supposed to understand their abilities and their responsibilities. They have to realize. The students nowadays are made to learn from the book. It's not, I wouldn't say learn. They study from the book and they write the examination. They don't really learn. So learning and studying are two different identities, and if the students are trained only for studying, we are creating a group of people who will not be able to do any engineering, but who will be engineering degree holders. And that is what I am trying to fight here. And luckily I find that the students also are bored with the current education system. They also actually want to learn, and the technical acumen, I would say, that is how we train them. See, the technical acumen of the students is to be polished and trained. And from the school education, if they are trained to mug up the subjects like physics, chemistry, mathematics are beautiful subjects where you can do and learn. If they are given more practical orientation, and if they are trained to do something and make mistakes and learn from them, then definitely the technical acumen can be polished from there itself. But the tools that they are using, the students are really good with the tools. The first time you create any electronic gadget, mobile phones, tablets, iPads, iPods, anything, you produce it to the students, they will be the first to learn each and everything. They understand the technology wonderfully. So it's not that the technical acumen is reducing, but they are not given the opportunity of learning it with the software, and they are not they are not taught the responsibility of knowing it, because knowing that for once is going to help them throughout the life, but that they are not taught about. That is why I feel that it can be polished and trained, and once we change the evaluation system and the curriculum of our education system, definitely our students will be able to do it. Any engineering student, I will say, any engineering student, any student for that matter, is ready to learn because they have that interest in them. They want to do something and learn from it, and we just have to give them a chance. Give them a chance and their technical acumen will be of the best. Okay, my next question is, why do you think it's so important to have women in engineering? Do they have a different view on things? Okay, yes. It is important to have women in engineering because many of the engineering designers fail to understand that perspective is an important part of the design. Imagine a person is designing something for the kitchen, and if the man has not worked in the kitchen for any time, definitely they will not be able to understand. For example, I will tell you, when I work in the kitchen, my husband of course helps me, and we do things differently. Definitely we do things differently. I use I'll say, when I am using the cooker, I am using it in such a way that everything will be put together and my time will be reduced totally. But my husband has other ideas. He is very much into saving the fuel. So we have different perspectives. I am into speed, he is into saving. But both are important. Both are very much important. And if in a small thing, if we have different perspectives like this, just imagine in an engineering design, when women and men are working together, how many different perspectives you will be able to get. So it is always necessary for women to be a part of the team. I remember a car being designed without a woman in the team, and it was totally a failure for women because women were not able to utilize the things that are the different designs that were incorporated into the car, and the leg length was too high, and it was not suitable for a woman, and it was a failure, and they had to change the design in such a way that it will also suit a woman. So it means that the women are to be a part of any society, and here also in the designing society, on the engineering society, you have to have a woman as a part of it. So it will naturally reduce the wastage, and it will also improve the design of the things. And I have got a comment here. Oh, that's good. From Alamelu. My son is studying +2. He is intelligent but not interested in studying. What you are saying is very true. Oh, great. I think it is true everywhere, all over the world. It is like if your son is given a work rather than a book, I am sure he will be able to do it. You give him a car, a small toy car, he will take off every part of the car and put it, dismantle and fully put it together. I am sure he will be able to do it on his own without any guidance from anybody. And what you say is very true. Like he needs to be guided into designing and doing rather than only reading. Don't encourage him to just to read. Ask him to put it into a perspective of where he can use it for doing. And another question from Alamelu. Can I meet you people? Are you coming to Chennai? Oh, I was in Chennai till last year, and I moved to Coimbatore only last year. And yes, on and off I may be able to come to Chennai, but at the same time you will also be able to talk to me maybe through chat, or we can email, of course. I gave the email ID. You can take it. It is my name again, Ramalatha _Marimuthu @IEEE.org. you can mail me, and we'll plan it together in such a way that when I come to Chennai, I will definitely give you a call. I have got another question. How did you develop yourself as a woman to become a part of IEEE? I am not sure I understand the question fully. How did you develop yourself as a woman to become a part of IEEE? I think the question is in such a way that, like, you are trying to ask whether as a woman I find it difficult to become a part of IEEE or something. It is not that. IEEE is the most wonderful professional body I have been in. I am a member of some 5 societies: Broadcast Engineering Society, Institution of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineers, VLSA Society of India, IEEE, so many societies. But IEEE actually develops you to become a part of it naturally. You love it like a family. For me, IEEE is a source of positive energy, and particularly women in engineering is like a family to me. Every one of the committee members, every one of the person I meet in IEEE or women in engineering, they have been very helpful to me. They have been very much in modeling myself and in developing myself actually. Oh, there is a follow-up to that question. How does IEEE help you as a woman? Oh, that's wonderful. As I said, the IEEE actually understood the necessity of bringing women into the underrepresented society of engineers and make it possible for the women also take part in engineering career. That is why women in engineering was born. And naturally, when I attend the women in engineering meetings, or when I go for any conferences, we come together and we chat. I get so many ideas for my research, for my projects, and of course for my IEEE also. And the recognition that comes out of IEEE is enormous. Recently, I was awarded the Anita Borg Institute Change Agent Award, and this was given, and this is a prestigious award given by Anita Borg Institute, and this is given to only 3 people in the world for effecting change in the community through their work. And I was awarded it for my work through women in engineering. I worked for the rural women, the special children, and also the children's education, and that was possible only because I was a part of this women in engineering forum, and so many people come together to help me. It is impossible for me to do it alone. I will not be able to measure up to the expectations of the people, but when you have a team, when you have so many people to help you, it will be definitely possible for you to come up in life. And as a woman, I have actually felt a communal feeling with the women in engineering and IEEE, and every one of the IEEE persons I have met, they have been very helpful. They are it is a source of positive energy for me to develop, and as a woman I have definitely benefited from IEEE, I will say. I have got another question. What words of advice can you give to young female engineers? I tell you, nobody likes advices, and particularly young people, they don't like advices. So I don't want to give any advice, but of course I can give suggestions. The young female engineers, they need to have a proper focus on their life. I mean the career as well as their family, of course. Both are important, as I said, and one complements the other. You cannot have one without the other. So the young female engineers should understand the worth of the career to develop themselves, and the family to recognize themselves. And they have to make it in such a way, they have to mature, they have to make the others also understand their feelings, and they have to know their worth. They should not go out of the way to be very subservient, but at the same time they should not be arrogant also. Confidence and arrogance they are related, and they are differentiated only by a thin line. So please remember that you are still females, and you have the power in your hands to change the world, and go for it. Have the passion. And now I have time for two more questions. So I will elaborate on my research right now, because my next question actually asks for how do you think society can help attract females to engineering professions. This is on my work I have done under women in engineering, and also a little on the research of it. The society is what we make, and if we want to help attract females to engineering professions, we definitely need some role models. We need people who have reached the top through their professions and through their hard work and dedication. And of course, people who have also gone through all sorts of experiences, good as well as bad experiences. Nobody is perfect and nobody is always happy, but in spite of being unhappy at times, it is possible to reach the top. So we need to select those role models who have reached the top in spite of the problems they have faced, and we need to make them known to the children. That is more important. There are role models and there are children. The only thing is we have to be the facilitators for bringing them together. The society has to understand the worth of the role models and also the worth of the children as the future country makers. They are going to be the lawmakers, they are going to be the futures of the countries, and they are to be educated definitely, and these role models will definitely help. So identify the role models first and take them to the children, so that more females will be attracted to engineering professions. I used to work with the Lions Club International on career guidance process. I used to go to the girls' schools and explain about engineering, and this definitely helped many of the females to focus on their future. I've got one last question. What do you think are the technology focuses of next year? Okay, the technology focuses of next year, I wouldn't say next year, in future is definitely going to be the focus for society. Like whatever technology we develop, that should be developed with the help of with the focus of helping the society, humanity, and any technology that is focused for this will be definitely welcomed by the people. In fact, I know many people who are working on such technologies, and this particular technology is called assistive technology. So for we find the root cause of the problems, like the root cause of the problems with the special children and how to work on it. And I have actually researched on, and I have done some work on the cognitive science, and this is what I feel that the focus of the future is going to be. So I feel that I have done justice to the questions that came my way, and I would like to thank every one of the audience who have put in the questions, and I would definitely like to extend our relationship through mails. Thank you very much, and thank you IEEE Women in Engineering for making it possible to meet so many people in through the chat. Thank you.